Hey everyone, it's Monica Reynolds. I'm so excited to have you on the call. We're going to get started in about a minute and, just maybe 60 seconds or so. So just hang on. We'll get started and Paige will open up the call in about 45 seconds. So stay tuned. Good morning, good afternoon. We've got some great information for you. Appreciate you being on the call. Just give us just another 30 seconds or so, and then the call will get started. If you have some questions, Paige is going to show you how to put that through the chat box. Happy to answer those questions. Okay, Paige, it's top of the hour.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar today, Hire and Train the Perfect Real Estate Assistant with your MAPS coach, Monica Reynolds. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and you will automatically receive this recording today following the webinar. Please feel free to share this recording with anyone in your market center that you think may be interested in this content. If you have any questions, please type them into the questions box located in your taskbar, and we will answer them throughout the webinar. We'll open it up for a Q&A near the end of this session. Following the webinar, if you have any questions, please email us. Our email address is fasttrack@kw.com. That's FASTTRACK@kw.com. And that's all for me, so Monica, you can take it away.
Hey, thank you, Paige, and the great MAPS department. They do such a great job. Thank you, thank you. All right, everyone, hire and train the perfect real estate assistant. Oh, man, okay. So I've been a coach for over 27 years. I've been in real estate almost 40 years now. And I was talking to Gary Keller, a month or so ago, and we were talking, and I said, a lot of people say the changes in the real estate industry, the cell phone or the fax machine, which is now archaic. And I said, it's really the real estate assistant made the huge impact, huge difference. And it turned just being a real estate agent selling house to house to a business. And so the real estate assistants, are always, in my opinion, numero uno in the way they change the industry, but also they are the secret weapon. They can change your life, they change your customer's life, and obviously, too, the benefit is you get to provide a great living for a great person who supports you so much. So with that said, it's always hiring the right person. So this will take about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to give you some great tips because, when you hire a mistake, it's extremely costly. So I've trained more assistants than anyone in the country. Again, if you have questions, you can put it through the chat box. So Paige, let's go to the next slide, please. So on the next slide, what I want to share with you is the hiring process. So Paige, you want to move that up? Okay, there you go. Okay, good. So the ad is a really important thing, and I usually put in my ad, and you get it in the assistant training program. If you want to email me, I'll send it to you also. But basically, you're looking for someone to work in a fast-paced real estate office with excellent computer skills. Now, I talk fast, but this call will be recorded, and you can listen to it again. I put it on Craigslist. Indeed.com is where most of the mega agents use. I use that also as an excellent place to find people. Also sending out that ad to your database. Why not tap into your database and say, thank you for your support. My team is growing. If you know anyone who wants a career in real estate, please send this on. Now, when the resumes come in, I'm going to give you some great tips, so write this down. On the tips, you're going to write, on the resumes, you're going to look at them. You're looking for neatness, appearance, and a little bit of flow, that there's some organizational things. Trust me, I've seen things that are turned in. They're pretty rough. And I put them into 3 piles. One is what I call the Burger King pile. The Burger King pile is they have no administrative experience. So that's probably not anyone I'm going to be looking at. The second pile, they have administrative experience. The third pile is they have real estate and administrative experience. So those are the 3 piles. So to repeat those piles again, pile number 1 is Burger King, no admin. Pile number 2, admin experience. Pile number 3, admin with real estate experience. Now I'm going to pick out 4 or 5 that jump out. Oh, there's a couple of other things. I do not add any to the pile that have had more than 2 jobs in 2 years. That's what I call a job jumper. I do not want a job jumper that's always looking over the fence going, well, if I don't, well, I'm going to go over here now. No, I don't like this. I don't like the way they did that. No, I'm looking for some commitment. Imagine that. Okay, so now we talked about the resumes and dividing them up. Pick out 4 or 5. Now, I'm not going to interview them. I'm not going to give them a KPA or DISC test until I talk to them on the phone. And so I'm going to call them up randomly, and I'm going to say, hi, Monica Reynolds with Keller Williams. Thank you so much for sending your resume. May I ask you a couple of questions? Did I catch it at a good time? Now, they can say no, and I go, great, when can I call you back? They can say yes, and I roll into it. What I'm looking for is someone who has a clear speaking voice, who has a little energy over the phone, who can put 2 sentences together and doesn't do, well, sorta, duh, well. No, I need someone to think quick on their feet because this is your representation to your client, to the community, to the outside world. They have to be able to speak and have a little energy. So one question, and you write this down, there are 4 questions that I ask. I go quick. I say, great, I won't take much time. You know, I've got your resume here, but I'd like to hear from you. Tell me a little bit about your job history. I want to see that they can communicate. Communication is a key thing in this business, right? Number 2, thank you for sharing that. Describe the perfect job for you. If you could wave a magic wand, what would that job look like? Tell me about that. And then they tell me that. And now also, I'm bringing in my high eye to see if they're going to mirror and match me. I'm going to see if they have any of those kind of talents. So then I'll downplay it, you know, but I'm asking that second question. And then I'll go into a lower key voice and I'll say, so what would people at your past job say about what's the best thing about you as a worker? What would they say? So now I'm changing my voice and my pattern. I'm going to see if they mirror and match me at anything, okay? Now, number 4, this is the last one that I ask. I say, so what are your hobbies? Now, there may be a single mom with 2 kids, and she said, my hobbies is my kids. That's all I've got. I got to deal with my kids. I love my kids, blah, blah, blah. I go do this or that, whatever. I just need them to be able to communicate something back to me. Now, if I like what they said, then I'm going to say what's next. If I didn't like what they said, I'm not going to say anything. So let's say I didn't like what they said. I didn't like the way they put sentences together. Then I would say, thank you so much for taking the time. I'll let you know what the next step is soon. And then I'll just email them the next day and say, thank you, we filled the position. If I liked what they said, then there's the next test. So Becky or Bill, thank you for answering those questions. The next step is I would like you to take a personality assessment. There are 2 tests. One's called the KPA, and the second one is called the DISC. One will take you about 40 minutes. The next one will take you 30 minutes. Now, neither of those is anything other than just about your personality. So you can't win or lose. It's just who you are. Now, today is Wednesday. May I receive that back on Friday by 5 o'clock? Will that be any problem for you to get it back by Friday at 5? And they say no. Now, 5:01, I don't have it back, I don't call them back. 5:10, 5:15, anything after 5 o'clock, they're off my radar. They don't follow instructions. They told me they'd do it. They lied to me. I look at it that way. You committed, you didn't hold your commitment. Now, I have had people that after an interview send me an email, they call my office and say, thank you so much for calling. I've done the KPA. Now, when the KPA and DISC test, when you talk to someone, say at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, and by 4 o'clock that afternoon, they've done it, I'm kind of excited that they're in. They're kind of excited to talk to me too. So those people then, I have them come in for an office interview. Now, when they walk in, I'm looking for neatness, appearance, business attire, just not being judgmental. I'm not going to hire someone with tattoos all over their face and neck. It's California, San Diego. Sometimes I get that. Piercings in their nose and ears and eyebrows, I'm not doing that either. So my interview can be like all of 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Thanks for coming in. I'm also looking for someone who stands up straight and shakes my hand and doesn't hand me a limp, dead fish. And you know what I'm talking about when somebody just kind of hands their hand, there's no energy in it. I need someone with a little energy that's got some confidence, looks me in the eye and says, nice to meet you. When I'm asking them questions, they're looking me in the eye. Now, obviously, you know, career visioning, go to that. It's excellent. You know, absolutely believe in that, totally 100%. Of course, in the assistant training program, I go through a hiring process also, and I have my own set of questions that also complement, you know, career visioning. Now, if the first interview went well, then I will say we're going to have a second interview, and in that second interview, I'm going to go through the life story. And so if you've taken career visioning, you know what I'm talking about. And all I'm looking for is winner, 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 not victim. I'm looking for someone who's victorious versus victim. And so when you listen to some life stories, you can get caught off guard by listening to woe is me and this happened and oh this happened and blah blah. Now listen, I'm not looking for the victims, not in my office, and neither should you be. Now, number 7, test the skills. Wow, okay, so you want to test the skills, and the first skill you want to test, and seriously, there's typingtest.com. You want to make sure they can type. Give them a letter and tell them to duplicate it, or take typingtest.com and you can see how many words per minute they can type. Give them some names and addresses and have them put them in the database. Now this could be third interview. The other thing you're going to test is, here's an Excel spreadsheet, or I'd like you to put an Excel spreadsheet together. Do you know how to do a brochure? Test what kind of skills they have. I have them type out an email. It was great to hear from you. H-E-A-R, not H-E-R-E. And I would say, okay, type out another email. Dear John, there is a house I'd like to show you. T-H-E-R-E, and I have gotten many times T-H-E-I-R. So let's make sure that they have some grammar skills, all right? References, you know, I can't tell you how important it is to go 3 levels deep. And I can tell you as a high D personality, when someone told me I had to go 3 levels deep on references, it was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I want this process over. The longer you take, the better the higher. So in 3 levels deep, and what I'm looking for, obviously, and I tell them, you can't give me your family and friends, and if you did as references, give me 3 from your previous work experience or someone else you know. No family and friends. And so with those 3 level deep, when I do the first level and I say, great talking with you, I need to talk to one more person, who else should I talk to in the office? Or who do you know I should talk to? Then if you have a team on that 3rd or 4th interview, other team members come and meet and greet. And then obviously, when on 4th interview, usually I've gone over the job description line by line. There's no surprises if you work for Monica Reynolds, and there should not be for you. I also go over the schedule and what that looks like, the time they're supposed to come in, and making sure there's no problem with them getting in work on time. And then I also have an offer letter. And all of this, of course, is in the assistant training. There is an offer letter that I give them that states the job descriptions attached to it, the schedule, and compensation. I go through that it's salary, that you're an employee. There's no such thing as a 1099 assistant in the real estate world. You will get tapped on the shoulder by the IRS and pay lots of fines. Monica Reynolds has done that in the 90s, so I know the rules really well. They are not independent contractors. I don't care if they have a license. In fact, the question that I mostly get most of the time is, should my assistant be licensed? And I say, yes, 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 and they're still an employee. So Paige, let's go to the next page. And Paige, are there any questions before I go to the next page?
I have one question. When is the next Perfect Real Estate Assistant class?
Okay, we're going to get to that, and then there's a discount for listening to this, and it starts December 5th, which I believe is next Tuesday. So the next class starts next Tuesday, and then the next one after that's not scheduled until March. So this is a perfect time to bring your assistant into that training. So thank you for that question. Okay, so here's the mistake. Most agents think that they can have a perfectly hired and trained assistant in 30 days. And so when I was working with Career Visioning, they sent me a 30, 60, 90-day plan, and I went, no, 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 no. That's way too complicated, way too much. And so I worked with the staff on career visioning that wrote the information, and I said, this is what has to be done if you have a full-time assistant. You've got to take it process by process. So on the 30, 60, 90, on the 30 days, the phone is the cash register. You know, you have to answer the phone professionally, transferring calls, putting in voicemails. You know, they've got to learn to handle a potential buyer that call comes in when the agent's not there, potential seller when the agent's not there, and all the scripts, of course, are provided in that training. They have to know, they have to role play that with you. They have to be comfortable with that. They have to know how to grab that call when you're not there and take care of it 100% effectively. And so there's scripts like a client calls and says, I can't believe this happened and I'm so upset. You've got to role play those things. The phone is the cash register. Just don't think and you say, well, here's how we answer the phone and that's it. No, there's certain ways to answer the phone with a proper greeting that's consistent every time. There's ways to end the call. I call it my Disneyland close, which is thank you so much for working with our team. We so appreciate the business. Is there anything else we can do to help your day? Now I teach that also. Now the database, they've got to grow the database. And per the great Gary Keller, minimum of 3 entries per day. And so they have to monitor that, and they have to make sure that there's 3 entries. And so I teach them to bug you a little bit. So remember, I'm empowering them to be a weapon for you to grow your business. I am giving them the power. So data entry, tracking database growth, managing email campaigns, mail campaigns, marketing videos, how to clean up the database, how to call and get emails in the database, all of that is done then. And then the other thing in the first 30 days can be achieved is if you have a pre-list package, they know how to put that together, MLS entry, photo cropping, customer conversation, seller feedback. So some of you will say, okay, seller feedback, what's that about? So I don't personally I think it's a waste of money for you, and it's not much money, but it's still a waste. Don't use those internet services where the agent might or might not go on there and give you feedback. They're not going to say anything ugly because they know it's going to go to the seller. You won't get the truth. So I teach the assistants to call for feedback. The number one question, if you want to write these down, is number one is your client making an offer? No. Number 2 question, what would it take for your client to make an offer? Now, you guys are smart enough. I don't need to explain this to you. Sometimes there's little nuances where, oh, we can fix that or we can handle that. So number 2 is what would it take for your agent to write, for your client to write an offer? And number 3, what do you think the home will sell for? And then we give that information back to the seller. Now, ... Keller Williams is the greatest real estate franchise in the world. Every single time that someone shows your property that's not a KW agent, that person should be put on a spreadsheet. That person should be contacted by your team leader. And all your assistant has to say, by the way, Keller Williams is 175,000 agents strong. We're the number 1 company in volume. We're the number 1 company in units. We're the number 1 company in agents. You need to hear what we're doing. We would like for you to hear what we're doing. Could you take a 5-minute call from our team leader? So she's teeing up the ball for you, obviously, or he is, to build your downline. So think about that. Don't miss the boat there. So on the first 30 days, it's answer the phone, it's database, it's handling the listings, cropping the photo, conversation logs, open houses, scheduling those, Facebook coming soon, inventory, keeping track of all of that. That's the first 30 days. And some of you are going, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, but most agents make the mistake and they want more. So let's look at the next 60 days. Then you bring the next 30 days, which would be into your 60 days, would be the closing files. And so on the closing files, obviously everything from A to Z on the closing file. And one of the things that I talk strongly about is called pass the baton, is where the agent sets up the listing and the closing file. You just don't throw the file down and say, oh, got another closing, get it going. No, there's a conversation that goes called pass the baton, and all of that, of course, is extremely important. Tracking numbers and sources of business weekly, that goes into this next 30 days. lead generation system, so they can support one. Maybe it's expired, maybe it's FSBOs, maybe it's letters going out to your database. Whatever it happens to be, you can add a lead generation system into that. Not 10 of them, but a lead generation. And then by the end of 90 days, they should be somewhat proficient, not 100%, but I'd say in the 70 to 80 percentile for sure on all marketing, all listings, all pendings, database, phone and scripts, tracking numbers weekly, goal monitoring, like the 15th of the month protocol, making sure you're on track of the 15th of the month. If not, they're giving you the numbers, and also there's strategies to get back on track, and helps with maybe 2 lead generation systems. Now, what's interesting to me about this, and I don't want to just belabor this too much, is that we don't set the correct expectations. And so when I shared with you that you must have a job description that you go over at the hiring process. Now here's your other little tip, aha. The job description, which is so great, the job description is your training checklist. So as you train on that one thing, check it off. If you train on the next thing, check it off. So sometimes people ask me, so what are some of the training tips that you would have? And I say, well, first, if you can delegate it as an agent, we're probably not the best trainers. We're salespeople. It doesn't say salesperson and trainer. No, it says salesperson. So if you can delegate it off or hire it done, having someone in your office teach top producer or whatever, E-Edge, whatever you're using, have them teach it, that's a whole lot better than you trying to do it, because you probably don't know enough about it either. Like me, I have people. I don't do that stuff. The other thing is that there's certain things that a lot of you know really well. Then here's what I'm going to suggest. I'm going to give you some great tips. I hope you're paying attention. When you are training your assistant, let's say on putting a new listing into MLS, get your little iPhone up on a little tripod and video what you're doing so it can see the screen. And I know there's some softwares out there where the screen, you can capture the screen on a video also. Don't know the name of it. Don't ask me, but somebody will know in your office. So you can video what that training is, and so that the assistant can go back and look at it over and over again until he or she gets it. Now, there's a trick. So you're going to put that up, and you can put it up on a private YouTube channel. So that can go on a private YouTube channel that your assistant can have access to, and you can put all kinds of training things on there. So let's say it's a Saturday morning, and you want to talk about referrals to your assistant. Make a little video, put it up there. It's for her, his eyes only, for your team's only eyes. Now, with that said, there's another technique I'm going to teach you on training. Let's say you're showing them how to get into MLS and do all of that. So you're going to have them write their own notes as they do this. And then, so you do it the first time. The second time that it's time to bring on a new listing, you sit there and watch them do it following their notes. Now, if they make a mistake, there's probably not something, there's something missing in their notes, and they make that correction. Okay? So with that said then, when that happens, the key thing that I would share with you is to be really, really clear about is that the third time they do it on their own, you watch again that they've done it perfectly, and the fourth time you just check it after it's done. And so then what happens next is you have the video. Your assistant has now written out a step-by-step process on how to put a listing up on MLS, and then have them type that out and put it in your policy and procedures manual. Now, gang on the call, you are not hostage to your assistant. Let's say all of a sudden gets married, moves away, has a baby, whatever. You're not hostage to an assistant leaving for whatever reason. So be sure that you're really, really clear that your training is that kind of training where you video what you're saying, so you're not doing it over and over and over again, and they can go back and listen to it, because if you're like me, you're going to talk too fast and you're going to think that they caught it. And that way, when they go to do it themselves on the notes that they've written, there'll be something missing, and then they can make the correction, and then they can type it all out and put it in the policy and procedures manual. So again, you have the 30-day goals there in front of you about answering the phone, the review, owning the database, and know and effectively communicate the listing process from A to Z. That's 30 days. So let's go on to the next slide, please. Next slide, Ms. Page. Okay. So the 60-day goal again, closing the files, building the closing files checklist, calling the seller with updates, schedule all inspections, manage repairs. Now, I'm a big proponent that a licensed assistant should handle all the repairs. I don't believe agents should be involved in the repairs. And so with that said, every single one of my assistants managed the repairs, and it was just basically training, having them listen on a speaker or a splice line when I was doing the repairs, and then they picked it up. In fact, they're much better than I am. They're not emotionally involved in it. And then obviously tracking numbers and sources of business is so critical to you reviewing your business on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, where the business is coming from and what you're missing. And obviously, you know, keeping track of all the numbers and all the buyers and all the appointments and all the buyer contracts signed versus how many, you know, then came to all the buyer agencies signed and how many contracts were signed. So sometimes I say some of the numbers I've seen, that if you have a buyer agency signed where they're going to work exclusively with you, for every 10 signed, 3 will come into a contract. Some of you are saying, well, my numbers are a lot higher than that. And I go, okay, I'm just giving you an average that I've seen most recently. Okay, so the next one is the 90 days, Ms. Page. Okay, and so we've gone through all of this, and it's basically, you know, you're signing off on all the marketing, the listings, the pendings. Remember what I said? They're not 100% on all of these. They're at least 75 to 85%, which would be awesome. You know, 75 is still a C, since I was an ex-school teacher, but at least they're in the game of it, and the potential is there, so that's critical, okay? So Paige, I'll open it up. Is there any other questions that I can answer right now? Remember, put it through the chat box, gang.
Yes. Okay, so we have Savannah. She asked, if your work phone is also your personal phone, how would you go about a greeting?
Your work phone is your personal phone. So is Keller Williams' work phone Gary's personal phone? Oh, that's right. We have a business. Okay, is Bank America's president his personal? Oh, he has a business too. So you're going to have to separate that. You cannot grow your business at the highest level possible if you're going to control all the incoming calls. Now, I teach the assistants that they need to get a landline. They need to get an office line. They need to get a cell phone dedicated to your office, and your cell phone is not dedicated to that. Now, some of you are going to get a little bit, you know, oh my gosh, what about the leads? What about this? And what about that? Yes, your sign call should change. Your sign number should change to your office number. You are running a business. You are a business person. You do not control all the incoming phones. You're never going to call Keller Williams and get Gary Keller on the phone answering the phone. And then if you did ask for Gary Keller, you're going to go through about 6 people before you might even get a chance to talk to him, because he has leveraged himself. So there's that word, leverage. So I'm going to suggest to you that you figure out immediately how to break that off. And I tell assistants, when the agent walks in, grab their cell phone and answer it for them and tell them to get on the other landline and do their lead generation. And so the answer is you're going to need to break it out, because you're a business person. The fact you asked the question, it's very important that you absolutely break that out. Okay, in fact, I'm going to tell you a secret too. In the last 20 years, going on over 1,000 listing appointments in the last 5 years, no one ever had my cell phone. Not one client had my cell phone. Why? Because I'm a business person. I have business hours. So there's a thought. Okay, what's next, Paige?
Okay, Stephanie asked, in this 30, 60, 90 plan, are they in a probationary period? A probation period?
Yeah, they are, and I tell them that, you know, we'll have a 90-day review to make sure this is the right job for you, and you're going to know in 30 days or less if they're catching on, and if they don't catch on, you run them off. That's it. You know, you can't hire a donkey. You're looking for the racehorses. And, you know, the other thing, too, that I wanted to mention real quick, my email is Monica@MonicaReynolds.com. Monica@MonicaReynolds.com. If you will email me, I will send you something that I sent to Gary Keller today. I'm in his private mastermind, the top 100. And I put ROI of a real estate assistant. How you can hire an assistant and they will be 3 to 4 times the value of what you are investing in their salary. And I gave you a whole list on how to do that. So it's Monica@monicareynolds.com. You can email me and I'll send it to you. Okay?
Okay, great. So then Lori asks, so you have one admin doing all the transaction work plus all the marketing. Where do you cut this off and turn it into 2 positions?
Okay, thank you for that question. Okay, so I wrote a real estate assistant book with that's on Amazon to this day, and I wrote it in 1992. Don't buy that. There's a new one coming out this year. Don't buy that one. In fact, it might be on Amazon now. So here's what I want to share with you on that. For every 45 transactions, you should have one full-time assistant if you want excellent over-the-top customer experience, which is totally different than customer service. If you want the experience to be over the top, it is so important that you have one per 45 transactions. Now, I know agents that will do 100 transactions and have one assistant. And I say back to them, you can't convince me that you have excellent customer service. You can't convince me that you have excellent systems. You can't convince me that that assistant's not going to blow up and die on you right in front of your eyes. So it's one per 45 transactions. Okay, next question.
Okay. Should my assistant go to family reunion?
Oh, that's a great question. You know, I've gone back and forth on that over the years, and then I have absolutely changed my whole thinking on that, and that is I firmly believe if you want to build a solid team member and have a career with that person who's dedicated to the big picture, who's dedicated to the business, that walks in and acts like it's their business too, and that's a great partner, you take them to family reunion. You make that investment. And there's a good example of Taylor Kerrigan, who is also a MAPS coach. She coaches Director of Operation Assistants. So if your assistant's gone through assistant program a couple of times, that's where they should go next, is to have a coach. And first day on the job, her boss, Jeff Glover, took her to family reunion. Now, she took Jeff Glover's team from doing 200 transactions to 1,500 transactions in 4 years. So because she was indoctrinated right away with the big picture and listened to all these mega agents and what they were doing, she saw the vision. It wasn't Jeff coming back all hyped up, oh my gosh, we've got to do this, we've got to do this. So if you're one of those agents that come back with 47 things that need to be done immediately and you want to get your assistant excited about that, have them be part of the experience of family reunion. So make the investment. Again, I'm going to just kind of go toward this again, is that the real estate assistant is the secret weapon in your business. They will absolutely make a huge contribution to you having a life. You may never have balance, but you can have a life. Number 2 is they will make a huge contribution to the quality and the care of your customers, which end up in repeat and referral business. And if you ask for that ROI on assistance, you will see all the things that they can do to grow your business. So you email me at monica@monicareynolds.com for that. And then the third thing that they do, which I think is so phenomenal, is that you're going to create a great life for this assistant, and they're going to be appreciative, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. So yes, make the investment in your assistant and look at the big picture. Now, I wouldn't, if you feel that your assistant is a 1 to 10 is a 5, you probably don't want to make that investment. And my question would be, why do you have that person? Are you doing that person a favor? If that's a family member, oh my goodness, that's a whole nother coaching call on that one. You know, be careful. Okay, so Paige, is there anything else?
Yes, we have a few more questions. So do you include health, vacation, sick time, etc., those type of benefits?
You know, I'm not. What I'm going to share with you is that every business is different, and this is how I've always rolled. I do not include any kind of health insurance. What I do is say I give you bonuses based on closings, and with that you can buy your own health insurance. Or if they're adamant about health insurance and they're a high-quality candidate, I go, great, I'll give you $150 a month, buy your own health insurance, keep me out of it. If they're full-time, I pay for 6 vacation days. If you want to write these down. New Year's, Christmas Day, I pay for 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day. What am I missing? Oh, New Year's Day, Christmas Day, Thanksgiving. I pay for those. I don't pay for any other days. Martin Luther King, the day after Thanksgiving, you're all coming back to work. I don't pay for President's Day, Flag Day, any of that. So those are the 6 holidays I pay. You work for me for 1 year, you get 1 week off. You work 2 years, you get 2 weeks off, not to be taken consecutively. Make that note. 3 years, 3 weeks off, not to be taken consecutively, and it caps out at 3 years. I do pay for 3 sick days. That's it. You're sicker than that, then I make a decision on some things, various things, and if it seems a little bit over the top, I may dock your pay. Okay, what else? Oh, by the way, let me answer this. I don't pay overtime. I tell them never to work overtime. There will be no overtime. I have them sign a statement. In California, which is close to a communist country right now almost, there are strict rules about overtime, so I make sure that there's no overtime. They've signed a document saying I will not pay overtime. I'm not asking them ever to work overtime. Okay?
Yes. Okay, Jaime asked, if you are a single agent and technically you are the assistant, would you recommend taking this class? Likely still a year out before hiring an assistant.
Say that one again.
He said he's likely still a year out before he's ready to hire an assistant. He's a single
Okay.
agent.
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, single agent, no assistant yet. Oh, I love this question. Do you know that 30 to 35% of the attendees on the call are agents without assistants because they want the system? And I go through an entire hiring process with the rating form, with the questions, and all the interview questions that I go through, the first 2-3 interviews, the ads, everything. So I highly recommend, and I do that for buyer agents also, and ISAs. I've got the whole systems in there. So I highly recommend, if you haven't hired an assistant yet, do this because you're going to get the job description, you're going to get the schedule, you're going to get the offer letter, you're going to get everything you need so you're set up correctly. Plus, most agents don't have these systems, and a lot of them want to know because they're a little bit afraid, gosh, I don't even have the systems. How can I hire an assistant? This will give you the manual, and you'll get a 450-page policy and procedures manual on every single aspect of the business. Lead generation, closings, listings, customer service, lead generation, setting goals, it's all in there. Communication, whole thing on phone and communication, all great. So that's a great question. Thank you for that. All right, Paige, what else?
So the other questions I think you went over earlier in the webinar. So for all of you that are asking to recap on some things, I'm going to send you out this recording today. And if you have any further questions, please email us. You can email me at fasttrack@kw.com. And then I think
can you send out a link for them to sign up to if they wanted to make the investments? It's $195 a month. It's the same price that I charged in the 90s. It's a 6-month course. The calls are also recorded, but they're live. I'm one of the few classes that you'll get that is live. So you get me on every single call. The first call every month is for the agent teaching you to be a great boss and how to communicate correctly and what I'm teaching your assistant so that you can help them be accountable. The second and third call of every month is for the assistant only. So that way they feel comfortable talking and sharing with me. So please consider that. It's the best value out there. MAPS is holding the price at $195, plus you'll get $100 off your last payment with the code. So we really appreciate you joining it, and I guarantee you it will be one of the best investments you'll make. I'm going to take you out of the learning curve. I don't give you my mistakes. I give you what I've learned over almost 40 years.
Yes. So like Monica said, the next course begins December 5th at 1 p.m. Central Time. It's $199 a month for 6 months. And today, with the code WEB100, you can save $100 off your last payment. The link to sign up, you will find that in the chat box. And again, it's $199 a month for 6 months.
Yeah, and again, let me just restate. It's Monica at Monica Reynolds, REYNOLDS, just like Reynolds Wrap, no relation, unfortunately, .com, Monica at MonicaReynolds.com. If you want the ROI of Assistance, I'd be happy to send that to you.
Okay, let me check and make sure that clears up all the questions. Someone asked about how much to pay their assistant and whether it should be hourly or salary.
I'm a firm believer in salary unless you have a part-time person, then it's hourly. And I just believe in doing it that way. And then the next question is how much you pay your assistant. You know, San Diego, the average sales price is $700,000. It's a lot different than Louisiana. That might be $125,000. So I'm just going to give you a general across the board. It's about $30,000 to $35,000, and sometimes you can get it a little less. In some areas, you pay a little bit more. You pay a lot more in San Diego than you would in Louisiana. If you pay about $30,000, that's about $15 an hour, and it also depends on level of experience. Don't start out too high, and don't give raises right away. Make them earn it. Okay? All of that's covered. Hopefully, you join the classes. Love to talk to you there.
Yes. Okay.
Anything else with Paige?
I think that's it. I just want to mention one more time, the link to sign up is in the chat box. You can also visit mapsgroupcoaching.com. Click on the Perfect Real Estate Assistant and make sure to use that code WEB100. That is till tonight at midnight. So be sure to get signed up today. And again, any questions, email us at fasttrack@kw.com. And that's all for me.
Thank you, Paige. Appreciate all you do at MAPS and the great MAPS team. Thanks, all you great KW agents. Hey, go out there and make it happen. Make some money today. Thanks, everyone. Look forward to the future talking to you on some calls. Bye-bye.
Bye.